Hello, everybody. This is Everything Happens in a Conversation. Let's chat about healing with sound. And I am with Lindsay Barn today. How are you, Lindsay?
Yeah, hi, Jasmine. I am really good. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. So for those of you who haven't seen yesterday's chat, we had a beautiful chat yesterday about healing. And today we are going more in depth with the healing with sound, which is Lindsay's thing. It's the thing. Lindsay and I have something in common. We're in common. We are both musicians. I don't do like on instruments, but my voice was my instrument. So we have that in common. Lindsay, tell us a little bit. Just like I know you said a lot yesterday, you can just give it a short.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about me as opposed to the sound healing, because we'll get into that. But I'm a musician. There was a joke went around by what I used to play. I was a drummer. Well, still am a drummer. And the joke used to be, what do you call somebody who hangs out with musicians? A drummer. Ta-da! Which I used to think was quite funny because they're the backbone of any band or orchestra. So, but I started playing 40 plus years ago, worked professionally for quite a lot of years. Then life took a turn. I continued to play part-time, but I got involved with corporate life. I got involved with other things. And 10 years ago or so, I was a little bit disenfranchised with life, and I came out of the corporate world and I came into not really knowing what to do, but I got into healing through energy work, which was something else that I'd done many years before. I'm also an NLPer. I'm also, like yourself, Jasmine, doing Super Coach Academy, so 3 principles understanding. So I started a coaching practice about 8 years ago. And a couple of years after I got into it, I'd kind of left my music behind. And one day I just saw a thing called a phase drum, which is it's a musical instrument, which is out of a repurposed old gas tank, top and bottom, welded up. But it's the most divine sound. And when I started to play it, I knew it had healing properties, and I'd not really looked much at sound healing prior to this. So I got one and I started to use it. I started to use it with clients. I started to do different bits of work around it, and I just explored it for a couple of years. And I was having some stunning results with clients who were stuck in life, who coaching wasn't working for. The spoken word wasn't doing it for them. Because the beauty of sound healing is that, you know, everything is made of energy, and energy is a vibration. And so music and sound is a vibrational tool that when we use that with people, it really can help them come back into balance and harmony without having to do anything. So it's a relaxing process in terms of getting people to a nice relaxed state, and then working, depending on what it is we're looking to do, working with different instruments and different frequencies, and drum as well, because drumming for me is something I've done for 45 odd years. I also play piano and a few other instruments now. I have grown into a proper musician these days. Still don't sing though, Jasmine, and I did hear your voice the other day on something you'd done. It's absolutely beautiful, so thank you for sharing that when you did.
Thank you.
But drumming is something that I started to explore, as well as the vibration of sound. And so now I tend to use rhythm and sound together, because rhythm and beats in particular, specific beats, can allow us to access different states of our subconscious. It can allow us to go really deep trance. It can allow us to actually elevate our state, wake us up and get us very light and very active in our mind. So when I started to look at this and started to play with it and experiment with it, it just blew me away how natural a process this is for us all. So I now work with phase drum, tuning forks, drums, and piano and other instruments as well.
Would it?
If you, I mean, sorry.
Would it, let's say, like, you know, one of the things that I've learned in this whole inquiry that I've done about my self-discovery is that there are emotions that I've stored hidden somewhere in my body. Like, so would sound healing release these? Would these help? Like, let's say they're totally unconscious to me. Would sound healing help with the release of those?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the beauty of sound healing, and I mean, I do a program called Transformation Through Sound, which works through half a dozen different frequencies. And I know that when I work with clients using that, all kinds of things start to show up for them. Stuff seems to release. And again, my experience is that rather than trying to give it names and badges of its emotional trauma or its grief or any of that, working with people who are just not feeling in a state of balance, people who are out of kilter, people who maybe just feel sad, just not right in themselves. The energy in the sound has almost an intelligence of itself. And when I work with clients, I'll be intuitively led what to play. And as I play, you can see release happening from it. You can see people letting go. You can see their bodies letting go, physically letting go, which again was for me quite astounding to see somebody have a physical reaction to what is an emotional issue at a deep unconscious state, but it seems to come through them physically and come out. So yes, that's probably a very long-winded question to, yes, it can help to release all kinds of unwanted emotions and traumas.
And do you feel like sometimes those people that the spoken word doesn't work with, that, you know, in the beginning, you've done the sound healing, and then after that you were able to actually do the spoken word? Is it something that happens?
Yeah, great point. Because I did wonder how, you know, doing coaching, would that fit with working with music and sound? And absolutely it does. Because I can find that I can talk with clients before we start the sound session. And for some reason, that seems to loosen the mind a little bit for them. It allows them to express verbally some things. Then we go into the sound session, and then either partway through or at the end of it, we will have another conversation. And the difference in the conversation from the start, is quite amazing, really, in that all of a sudden they are realizing and seeing where this is all coming from, and obviously a lot to do with their thinking and what they're thinking about. So the two really, for me now, work extremely well together.
That's interesting. You know, what showed up for me when I was like getting ready to chat with you, I was kind of like wondering if you like, cause I like, if I look at the kind of music that I was listening to, you know, like, or that I listened to, um, I could see that there was, at one point in my life, I was listening to, you know, pretty angry music.
Mm.
um, and now, pardon me?
Me too.
Yeah. And then, you know, if I look at now, I'm very, you know, I'm very zen, and I'm listening to this, you know, very zen music.
Mm.
And I was wondering, like, what showed up for me as I was thinking about that was, I wonder if you know, like, when people are listening to hardcore, you know, like, you can see in my face how I don't I don't like that kind of music. But you know, the hardcore music where it's like, they're called death metal or things like that.
Yeah.
Like, the people who listen to that kind of music, not like, I don't have a judgment about that. I have judgment about the music. But but I'm just wondering, is it like there's something that needs to be released? Like, when we're listening to a specific kind of music, is it just like preference, or do you feel like there's something there?
There is without doubt something there. Something I talk to clients about as well is how water is affected by energy, and specifically by music, because water water as an energy, if you play it, there's a guy in Japan called Dr. Masuri Emoto, and
Yes.
he did lots of experiments on water crystals from the Fujiwara Dam. And what he used to do is he would put water crystals in jars, and he'd play different types of music and talk different things and bless them and talk wisdom and things like that. And the crystals took on the most gorgeous forms, real snowflake type, beautiful symmetrical forms. And then he got some other water crystals, and he would play heavy metal music to them. And they went, I mean, I've shared with you because I'm part of the work that I do, but these are how, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
The water crystal, the big one on the right, is some heavy metal music. Yet when they're playing really nice music, that's what they do. So the crystals are absolute proof that water responds to sound and emotions, and we are 80% water as human beings. So yes, music very much influences us and our system. And you know, I worked, when I was a musician, I was in rock bands, and I was playing not heavy metal but heavy rock music, Led Zeppelin kind of stuff. And like yourself, Jasmine, now I listen to a lot of Zen type of music, and what I perform and play now is the opposite end of the scale.
Yeah. I still like, you know, there are some music that I still love to listen to, that, you know, I kind of like what shows up for me when I'm singing is that it kind of like gets the emotion that I don't usually share with people, you know, but now it's a song, so I let myself do it, you know, like if I feel like saying in a song, I can do it, right? The Jasmine can't do it, but the singer, you know, the Jasmine singer can do it,
well,
which is...
Well, the whole thing about music, and because I in saying what we've just said about, you know, that kind of music can create a problem for us. It doesn't really, because actually music is music. And I love still, I mean, Led Zeppelin is still one of my favorite bands, and John Bonham was my all-time favorite drummer. And I still listen to it really loudly because I like it to be really loud. So, you know, I still enjoy that. And there is still a time and a place for that. But if I'm looking to work with somebody to bring them back into a state of love and bliss, peace, joy, and harmony, I'm probably not going to get it by sitting behind a drum kit and doing some heavy metal and a drum solo. I'm more likely to get it by just playing constant rhythms, which will take them to trance-like states, and then work with, generally the phase drum is one of my favorite instruments now for helping people to really relax. And also they're tuned specifically to certain frequencies. So as you play musically, you're actually introducing all these different frequencies to people to help them to heal and to come back into balance.
So I find it interesting because, let's say, you know, I could see how I got, like, as I was researching, that there are things that are in my subconscious that I just can't see. They're away from my view, right? Like, I know there's something there. I'm aware enough to know, okay, there's something in my way, but I just can't see it, right? And I could talk about it until I'm blue in my face. I just can't see it, right? Now, if I want to, and I get to see it, like I see that the more that I persist and that I do the spoken word and I go into coaching and I go into insight and I start looking, but I could see how healing would sound could actually just trigger it for me and just make the process go a little faster than, you know, just spending years of, you know, inquiring about myself.
Yeah, I think the beauty of, I mean, the coaching side and the spoken word is great, and a conversation with someone can be the most beautiful experience for both. But there is something for some people who really struggle to get out of their heads. They really struggle to slow their minds down enough And they've probably been to other therapists, and they've been told by other therapists, oh, you've got this from the past and this emotion, that emotion, you've got this negative feeling, you've got this negative. There is so much in their head that they are believing and going with, that the one thing that this sound healing does is it gets them out of their head, because it's relaxing. Ostensibly it will put them to sleep, but that's a kind of a good thing, because we don't want to talk to their conscious mind. We want to talk to their unconscious mind and their body through frequency and energy and vibration. And so once their conscious mind is out of the way, then we can go to work. And it's amazing the sessions that I do, where some of them can be quite long sessions, maybe an hour or an hour and a half, where they're asleep for an hour and a half, where they're in a very deep meditative state. And when they come round, they think they've only been there for about 5 minutes, yet it's been an hour and a half. And you've been through a whole load of drum work, toning work, tuning fork work, all different things. And they always wake up feeling refreshed, and they feel different. Generally, they don't know why.
Can you give a few examples of, like, I'm going to call it problems that you've assisted with, or issues?
It's anything you care to imagine, to be honest. I've worked with people who have got self-esteem and self-worth issues, and self-love issues, and it has helped them to reconnect with who they really are, and to see themselves for who they are, and to love themselves for who they are. I've worked with people who have got relationship problems, who are struggling with partners or family members or whatever. Stress is one that is very big on the list these days. A lot of people get stressed. Again, talking work can do a lot of good with that, but again, just getting somebody out of their head through music and relaxing them, and then working with the frequencies, is an effortless way for them to feel the stress relief. Along with stress, anxiety, and depression. It's pretty much everything. People who have come to me with limiting beliefs, where I may have wanted to go to my old NLP models that I used to do from the past, where there's strategies and techniques. I would now prefer to do conversation or sound healing with them to release those limiting beliefs. And really just about anything, Jasmine.
Yeah, I think there's something to say with a quiet mind, once you can really, because, the other day I was listening to somebody, and they said, yourself, you've been with yourself longer than I ever have. Right. But it's like our mind is not quiet. It's like we just don't know how to quiet it down anymore. Right. So it's like when you're able to quiet it down, you can actually hear your wisdom tell you, what needs to be done, or you can have a conversation about, well, what about this? And you can actually inquire and explore it more when your mind is calm. So I see it.
Yeah. And I think that's a part of just about every work that I do, even in coaching. It is about having that peaceful conversation with someone. It's not about having a discussion or an argument. It's about having a conversation, a quiet, peaceful conversation. And it's just taking people to that place where they do their most inspired thinking, where they can reconnect with themselves.
Yeah.
And sound certainly has a very instant way of doing that. Sometimes I'll just use drums for some people. Some people like it so that it's quite powerful, because the music I work with is quite gentle. But if I get drumming, and I use all different types of drums, sort of frame drum things, which are, just to give an example of one, these sort of drums, where you just play them that way. But I'll work with those kind of drums with people. And just constant rhythm at a specific number of beats per second or beats per minute will take people very quickly into a very deep trance state. So there are different horses for different folks. You know, everybody responds in a different way. And some people like drum to be very quiet and gentle, and other people, I have one particular client who, I mean, I live in the country, thankfully, but if I didn't, I'd have to warn the neighbors that I was doing a session because it gets a bit loud. But they respond to that. And I think that's the thing, Jasmine, is everybody is different. We all seem to have similar issues in life, but everybody's different. So my experience is that the route to resolving that and helping them to resolve that will always be different for everybody. I do some sort of specific courses around certain areas, but they're quite general, but they cover a lot of bases so that you're going to catch pretty much everything for people. But yeah, it's a fascinating work, and one which never ceases to amaze me in terms of the results from people. And in fact, one interesting result I had with the phase drum, which is such a lovely, gentle instrument, I'd done a CD and recorded it, and it's available on the website. But a friend of mine, she got it, and she used to play it in the house just to relax her and calm her down. However, she has a Cocker Spaniel, hyperactive Cocker Spaniel that runs around like a headless chicken everywhere, barking at everything. And she wrote to me and just said, Lindsay, it's amazing because when I put this CD on, for 40 minutes of this CD, the dog just doesn't move. She just lies down and goes to sleep. So I thought, gosh. But animals are open, you know, they have no thinking about anything. And if something's nice and relaxing, they're just going to chill. So for me, it was a lovely example of how it works at all levels.
Very cool. So I know that you've said that the work that you do is mainly done one-on-one in live format. Yeah. At this point, you're still working on the virtual aspect of it. So if anybody wants to reach you at this point, how can they find you?
Website is the best way, and there are some tools on there. There are some tools, I don't like that word particularly, but there's some recordings on there, and there is a transformation through sound, which is a condensed version of the long program I do, and that's on my website, which is theinspirationbarn.com.
Okay, I like it.
So yeah, and it's interesting. Whilst this is going on in the world today, this is I'm quite busy, so I'm not getting the time that I'd like, but I'm working currently on doing a 6-week program which will be going through solfeggio frequencies, which is one series of frequency healings that I do, and I'm going to be doing one frequency every week for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and it will take you through a journey with a meditation, a healing, tuning forks, and then coming out at the end of it. So I'm excited about doing that. I've done that in groups of people for a few years now, and that again I've had some staggering results with that, where it's helped people's lives transform. So I call it transformation through sound, which I think is a slightly better title for what I do than just sound healing or healing with sound.
Okay, and so when that program is ready, let me know. We'll have another chat together, and then you can introduce it to people and tell them where to go to sign up.
Cool. That sounds fantastic.
Sounds good. Well, it was great. Thank you very much for all the information. I hope that people are going to get in touch with you if they need anything. If you've got any problems, guys, you can always ask me. I know how to reach Lindsay. So if there's anything that occurs. So thank you very much for being here. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see each other later in our other stuff.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, Jasmine. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.